In this hands-on exercise, we're going to look at the extrude command. We want to practice what we've been learning in the last few exercises, and this is going to take us through a few of those. So try to follow along and use the measurements that I use. In this exercise, we're going to be using a metric sketch to do this with. So remember, everything is in millimeters. First one is going to be covering extruding. So we're going to go to the extrudedfeature.ipt under the working folders. So the first thing we need to do is start the extrude command. Select extrude, and we select on our part. We're going to extrude this up 28 millimeters. This is a metric part, so you can just type in 28. And we can hit enter, and now we have our part extruded up. Pretty simple. Come up here to this drop down at the top. Let's change the color of our part, and we can make it something pretty or exciting. You can go with like a wood grain if you want. Green, gold. I just want you to see that you can change the color of the object without changing the object's material type. Next, we're going to click right here, and we're going to say New Sketch. If you right click on your face that you want to start a new sketch on and go down, and you'll notice that it automatically swung it around for us and looked straight at that sketch. Now, this isn't the plane we're going to be sketching in, so if we want to rotate the orientation of this, we can just come over to our view cube and select the little arrow and rotate it around. Now we're going to come up here to the top, and we're going to hit the down arrow under Project Cut Edges, because that was the last one I selected. We're going to select Project Geometry. I'm going to select the outer edge and the top edge. You'll notice that I already had this front face projected because that's one of my settings turned on. We'll talk about that later. If you did not get this projected automatically, you'll need to select that face to get that face to project correctly as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a rough sketch. So we're going to go to the line. We start right here. Make sure you don't accidentally get the middle of this. We're going to put a dimension on this after the fact that's not going to be in the center of that. So make sure you don't accidentally grab the middle of this part. Come over. Once again, make sure you don't snap on that line there. We're just going to eyeball it in here. Come up here. It's okay that I messed that up. Hit right click and hit OK. I'm going to say we're going to make these two lines collinear. And then I'm going to make this line and this line parallel to each other. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to use the horizontal command. Grab the center point here and the center point there. And I'm going to stop for a second. You're going to say, why did you use the horizontal command to do a vertical constraint? Because this isn't really vertical. If you remember, the first thing we did was rotate around. So really we're looking at this part on its side. So even though that's a vertical alignment, we did it in a horizontal plane. If this was reset to be horizontal this way, then this would be a vertical alignment between 2 points. So remember that we rotate around. You'll run into this a lot when you go to put horizontal and vertical constraints on objects. You don't realize that the sketch is a rotated sketch, and so therefore horizontal or perpendicular won't give you the result you want. So just come up and check out your view cube and see if you're looking at it in the right direction. Next thing we're going to do is go and do some dimensions. I'm going to click on the dimension command. Right here I'm going to put a 6 millimeter dimension. Right here I'm going to put a 22 millimeter dimension. And then here I'm going to put a 7 millimeter dimension. So now I have a closed profile. Say finish. Come over to extrude. Select my new profile. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to rotate my part around till I can get comfortable with the way it looks. I like to look at it in this plane here. Just to me, it makes more sense. If you're comfortable with looking at it from the bottom side up, that's okay. But use your view cube and rotate it around until you get a good plane that you're looking for. We're going to change this to cut. And we're going to cut 48 millimeters. Enter. Should have something that looks like this. If you didn't have auto project turned on before, you can come up here to tools, application options. We can go into the sketch tab, which is over here on the right here on mine. And you make sure that auto project edges for sketch creation and edit is turned on. That's what happened whenever I clicked on that front face. It automatically projected that profile for me. There are going to be times when you have some really complex profiles and you want to manually pick them. But for the most part, turn that on. And then what we're going to do is come back over to the 3D model tab, select new 2D sketch. We're going to select this top face. From this top face, what we're going to do is we're going to draw two circles. First circle, let's start right about here. I'm going to bring it back. And then the second circle is going to be concentric. I'll just drop it on the same center point. And then I will use a horizontal command to make sure the center point of my other circle and that are connected. I am going to project this front edge here because I'm going to dimension off of that. So I'm going to say the center point of these two circles here. Let's make that say 6 millimeters. Then my inner circle, whenever I select it, I'm going to right click. I'm going to change the dimension type to radius. And I'm going to say 70. Then my outer circle, I'm going to right click and change it to radius. Drop it, say 95. So you should end up with something like that. Rotate it around here with my 3D controller. Say finish. Say extrude. Change it to cut. And this time, instead of going a distance, I'm going to say to a selected face or point. I'm going to select this plane here and hit the check mark for OK. So when you get done, you should have a part that looks something like this. Look at it from the side. You'll notice that the curved section is on the same plane as the section that we projected back or extruded back from the front. When you get done, hit save, and we can close this one.